In these modern times of digital distribution, Game Pass, and the death of brick-and-mortar retail, we're raising a generation of gamers who don't know what a physical game disc is. One tragic byproduct of increasingly non-physical game distribution is the decline of the collector's edition, where along with the game disc you get a steelbook, some art cards, a soundtrack, and a limited edition collectible so disturbing you have to throw a towel over it before you can go to sleep at night. Brace yourselves now for the 7 most disturbing items from collector's editions that continue to haunt our dreams and our shelves. And if you've never seen one of these before, ask your parents what they did in the high-definition optical disc format war. You might learn something.
If we are all living inside a simulation, then the year 2018, when a special edition of a video game came bundled with a flesh-like mass, that's the point at which things went wrong, that's the point when the simulation should have been reset, and that's why things have felt off ever since. At any rate, Inside is a bleak puzzle platformer where you play mostly as a young boy struggling to survive a mysterious and hostile world of attack dogs, zombie experiments, and environmental hazards, each deadlier than the last. Like I say you play mostly as a young boy because, spoiler alert, in the final minutes of Inside, you play as a gigantic glob of human bodies fused together into a kind of Katamari of flesh. Oh, hi Mum. How's my day? Well, I had to say Katamari of flesh at work, so that's something. Yes, I know Cousin Chris has a company car. Rather than concealing this crime against nature, the collector's edition of Inside decided to celebrate the Huddle, as the fleshy ball monster was known, by commissioning a devastatingly realistic figurine. This pallid abomination wiggled and jiggled just like the real thing, and thanks to a unique collaboration with sex toy manufacturer Real Doll, you know that synthetic skin feels disturbingly lifelike. More disturbing still, this Huddle doll came with a PVC figurine of the unnamed boy that, I quote, fits perfectly inside the flesh-like mass. So have fun doing that. For the bargain price of $375, this Huddle edition came with a Perspex stand that also fits perfectly inside its one orifice, so you could display this wobbly amalgamation of tissue and limbs on the mantelpiece where everyone and God could see it. Finally, the care instructions for the Huddle doll notes that long exposure to other substances will discolor and deform the Huddle. So if you've been touching it a lot, people will know.
So, your uncle. What's wrong with him?
He says a dark man is following him, watching him at all times.
Funko Pops get a hard time for being ugly and overpriced, sure. And sure, they did dump $30 million worth of them into a giant landfill that could be seen from space, where they'll exist until the heat death of the universe, staring into the void with their soulless black eyes. But say what you will about Funko Incorporated, they never made anything so disturbing or grotesque as the contents of the collector's edition for the upcoming Alone in the Dark game. The collector's edition includes a Do Not Disturb sign that looks like a hanged eyeless baby doll, which, I mean, people will stay away from your room, so that's effective. And a premium 10-inch statue of the so-called Dark Man, which, yeah, say hello to this year's number 2 Halloween costume.
No, 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 you stay back!
Number 1 is Ryan Gosling's Ken, obviously. The headline act of this festival of creepy collectibles, though, is a figurine of a humanoid monstrosity with bloody tentacle fingers, exposed ribcage, and a gaping, jawless mouth that just won't quit. We're told he's called Ostad, which could be a reference to Jacob van Ostad, the author of Terra Incognita, a manuscript found in the library of the original Alone in the Dark game. But then again, he doesn't strike us as the literary type.
Authorities report that the crisis is over. Rescue crews clean up the aftermath as the rescue operation continues. Rumours of a possible plague outbreak have been discredited as international relief organisations continue to assess the situation.
No one does chaotically dissonant marketing like Dead Island does chaotically dissonant marketing. This is, after all, the franchise that gave us the melancholy backwards Dead Child trailer. To sell us a tropical zombie adventure where you'd kick undead tourists across the island.
You want some more?
It does therefore track that when the Dead Island sequel, Dead Island Riptide, came along, we got a trailer in which a young couple sacrifice themselves to avoid being eaten alive. And also a collector's edition that came with a sexy dismembered bikini torso. Yeah, that's the one. What she lacks in head or arms, she makes up for in boobs, and being covered in deep, gory wounds that were, according to the publisher, hand-painted. It was a dark few weeks in that factory. If you bought this Dead Island Riptide Zombie Bait edition in the UK, your headless pair of tits would have been wearing a Union Jack bikini for patriotism. All in all, it's what the publisher calls a striking conversation piece. It's hand-painted, don't you know? Wait, come back! Don't touch my flesh blob on the way out, you'll discolour it.
Say I don't need anyone.
What the hell?
But I do.
There was an outbreak.
Why is it all
They killed everyone, trying to contain it.
First of all, let's get one thing clear. The Callisto Protocol is not Dead Space. It might sound like Dead Space, look like Dead Space, and be Dead Space, but it's not Dead Space. Because for one thing, the grotesque fleshy space zombies in Dead Space were called necromorphs, whereas the grotesque fleshy space zombies in the Callisto Protocol were called biophages. It's different. These biophages came in various shapes and sizes, none of them pleasing to the eye, but the nastiest of the bunch is the dude known as Two Head. Guess what he's got? This is a big burly brute made of two humans spliced together, giving him the strength and heads of two men. And partway through a fight, in the ultimate power move, Two Head becomes even stronger by ripping one of his own heads off. Yet John Carpenter called, he said, "Yikes." Obviously, you're going to want to commemorate this traumatic event, and what better way than with the Callisto Protocol Collector's Edition, specifically with this gruesome statue modelled here by director Glenn Schofield, where every diseased, sinewy detail of the two-headed biophage abomination is luxuriously rendered in heavy polysteel, along with protagonist Jacob Lee soiling himself under that spacesuit, we assume. Biophage, by the way, comes from the Latin bio, meaning life, and phage, meaning to eat, which isn't great, but it is better than the placeholder name they had, which was necromorphs, brackets, change this, thanks Glenn.
He tried to keep us from Mother. But he failed.
It's not for us to say that the entire Fear franchise was a long con by a developer whose kink was naked, pregnant ghosts. But can we rule out the possibility that the entire Fear franchise was a long con by a developer whose kink was naked, pregnant ghosts? I don't think we can. By the time the third installment of this horror shooter rolled around, the franchise's poster girl, Alma Wade, was stepping into her power as a psychic phantom who took no guff from anyone and was, the game insisted on reminding you, in the family way.
Mother's expecting again.
This was the point at which perhaps the member of the development team with a thing for pregnant ghosts, who had always wanted a statue of a pregnant ghost, stepped in with a dynamite pitch for the Fear 3 Collector's Edition. The only proper subject for a Fear 3 Collector's Edition statue, they said, was Alma Wade herself, nude, emaciated, and clutching her pregnancy bump, which glowed in the dark so you could see her even when you turned the light out and tried to fall asleep. And so it was that the glow-in-the-dark Alma Wade doll went into production. The Fear 3 Collector's Edition came to pass, and that one developer fulfilled their life's purpose. Maybe. Could be. It's not for us to say.
A steel mother's womb facilitates a connection between the world of the dead and the BB. And you, in turn, connect yourself to a BB, granting you the ability to sense BTs.
If you thought you'd seen all the unborn fetuses you were going to see in this video about video games, then think again, pal. Because if the main star of sci-fi package delivery simulator Death Stranding was Sam Porter Bridges, memorably portrayed by Norman Reedus, then a close second was BB, the unborn baby in a synthetic womb who doesn't glow in the dark but does urinate on Guillermo del Toro.
And this is why I hate these things.
BB, short for Bridge Baby, spends most of the game strapped to Norman Reedus as he runs his errands, forming a link between the world of the living and the dead, and wailing at you through the speaker in your DualShock controller. For fans wanting to live this post-apocalyptic postman fantasy IRL, BB was immortalised as a life-size premium replica in the Death Stranding Collector's Edition. For just £360, you could have your very own BB in a translucent pod to tote around while you go about your business. Those who are considering investing, though, consider this cautionary tale from Hideo Kojima, who says he was stopped by US Customs for having one of these in his luggage. And also, they wanted him to explain the plot of Death Stranding. Apparently he was there for hours.
And now, it's time for America's most dangerous game show. It's time for Terror is Reality!
In some ways, the zombie-infected world of Dead Rising is less bleak than others, because there is at least medicine that stops infected people from becoming zombies.
We don't have any zombies, do we?
In other ways, the zombie-infected world of Dead Rising is much more bleak, because they've turned zombie killing into reality television.
A protest group has shown up in the adult playground of Fortune City, which was chosen as the site of the latest installment of the pay-per-view game show, Terror is Reality. The protest just compounds the problems of the game show, which has been plagued recently by tumbling ratings and controversy.
Don't act like it wouldn't be on Netflix 3 weeks into the apocalypse. The medicine that keeps people from turning into zombies is known as Zombrex, which gives its name to the Dead Rising 2 Zombrex edition. This edition includes, among other things, a highly realistic-looking box of Ambisol Vaspilatin, the pharmaceutical name for Zombrex, presented here as a blue liquid in a syringe that, only on close inspection, would anyone realise is actually a pen. Leave this lying around to give friends and family the impression that you are taking a drug they've never heard of, perhaps as part of a shady medical trial. That'll be a fun time. The most disturbing thing about the syringe, though, was how everyone who bought the Zombrex edition succumbed to the temptation to crack open the plastic case to drink the forbidden liquid inside, which is unforgivable on Capcom's part.
That didn't happen.
Right, yes, we lost our Zombrex edition is what happened to it. So actually, Capcom, if you are watching, send over some more. They were delicious. I mean, we lost them. We lost them.
Those were the 7 most disturbing items in collector's editions that are still spooking up the place in the Outside Xbox storage repository.
We don't go in there anymore.
It's like the warehouse at the end of the Indiana Jones movie, but it's covered
More
in
ghosts.
Scary figurines. Yeah, we don't go in there anymore. I think what you should do now, though, as an antidote to all that creepy, disturbing stuff, is to watch this presumably much more wholesome video from Outside Xbox, or this even more wholesome video from Outside Extra. That's really going to cheer you up and brighten your day. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Outside Xbox.